Jody, do you want to start recording? Okay. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to the West University Historic Zone Advisory Board meeting of Tuesday, August 15th at 6:03 p.m. Let's go ahead and do a little quick call to order. Jim Glock.
Present.
Sarah Ferrardo.
I'm here.
You're here. Betsy Larson.
Present.
And Damon Turner.
Damon.
Okay, and Rick McDonald present. We have a quorum. Okay, moving on to item 2, approval of minutes. Did everybody get a chance to read the minutes from last meeting? And do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
I will second. Jim Glock.
All right, Sarah moves, Jim seconds. Sorry, I'm double duty as secretary here. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Betsy?
Oh.
Aye.
And Jim. And
I have to abstain because I wasn't there.
you weren't there. Okay, Damon abstains. All right.
Technically, I'm sorry, I'm on other committees with the city. And Damon, you don't have to abstain if you weren't at the meeting. All you have to do is, read them, and if they look wacko, then you can make comments, but otherwise you get to approve them even though you didn't attend. And if you need to have boards and commissions review, we could probably ask Jody to do that, but I've been told 6 ways from Sunday that you don't get to abstain on approving minutes because you weren't present at the meeting. Sorry to be.
That seems like it makes no sense to me, so I'm still going to abstain.
Yeah, seems like it makes no sense to me too. Although, just for grins, Jody, what's the rule there?
I think it's up to the applicant to
Well-
whether or not they want to abstain on, or sorry, not the applicant, the
The board
voter,
member? Okay.
board member, whether they want to abstain. If they don't feel comfortable because they didn't read it or they weren't there and didn't participate, it's allowable. But if they feel like they got enough gist from reading the minutes and they feel comfortable voting on them, they're also allowed to. So I think it's a little bit more open.
Okay, all right. Well, I think Damon abstains regardless, so so noted. Okay, moving on to item number 3, call to audience. Jody, is there any call to the audience?
There is not.
No call. All right, which moves us on to item 4A, which is SD 0523-0059, continuation of 713 East 5th Street. And Jose, I think that's over to you. You're muted, Jose.
Good afternoon, everybody. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for taking the time to meet with us so late. Okay, so I submitted the revised plans. Can somebody give me access to the material that I submitted to you guys last week or a couple of weeks ago?
Do you just want to share your screen and I can make you a co-host, or do you?
Okay, I can do that.
Okay,
Let me try.
hold on. Okay, so you're a co-host, you should be able to share your screen.
There you go. Can you guys see it?
Now I can, yeah.
So this in regards to the property located on Fifth Street, and there's two buildings to this property, 711 on the front duplex and 713 duplex on the back road property. For our last meeting, there was a discussion on what to do with the existing conditions of the building after my client went in and removed the original doors and windows on both buildings and replaced it. Yep. And replace them with new windows. So after our meeting, there was a suggestion to go back and replace all the windows that were removed with the original opening window size and new windows with them, and including the window seals. So in this plan here, sheet A 2.0 is the existing exterior elevations, and this is what's there now, even including the original windows and some of the windows and doors that he replaced or that he infilled some of the doors in place. So this kind of shows what's there right now, and our suggestion, our proposal now in regards to making this work, trying to repair the damage cost, is to go back and replace all the windows and doors to meet the original size of the window, and whatever the window seal, wherever we they remove the window seals, all the window seals to be replaced with stucco foam pop-ups that match the same profile. So there's three things to this. One is the doors, and we call the doors to be panel doors, 6-panel doors to be painted, and we call them to be wood or steel. And they come in both, and I'm not sure if you guys had a concern about the steel, but our suggestion is to go with wood or steel. We prefer steel because it lasts longer, especially in the areas that are exposed to the weather, like the ones on the back or the side, right? And the windows to be wood aluminum clad windows from Pella, and again trying to match the same opening, the original openings that were there, and replace the window seal pop-up. And I'm showing you a sample of both the window and the doors, and this is what we're suggesting to be replaced with. As far as the paint color, we still, need to be determined, but the windows are all white doors. As far as the floor plan goes, nothing changes. On the exterior, everything goes back the same way it used to be. Doors and windows, openings remain. And so that's what we're suggesting to do for the unit on the front. The unit on the back, doing the same thing. There were a couple of openings that were enclosed with plywood. And so what we're suggesting is reopen those openings and install new windows to match the original openings that were there. And the same thing with the doors. Use the same door system, same door and same window to replace those original openings and to match what's supposed to be standard on that. So that's pretty much the scope of the work. As far as the one more thing, actually, as far as the stucco, the original stucco and whatever the patches are, we're actually calling to stucco to be patched completely, because it's going to be very difficult for them to match, try to patch it and paint over it. It's going to be difficult. They have to patch the whole wall wherever the repair was done. Other than that, that's the extent of the scope of the work. Are there any questions?
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the board members for questions.
So regardless of whether the front doors are metal or wood, they're going to be painted, correct?
Correct. they're all to be painted for it.
I mean, even if it's a painted metal door, we expect it to be painted. Or
Yes.
I would expect it to be painted, but
Are we, are you saying that you're gonna be using, did I unmute? Yes, I did. You say you're gonna be using aluminum windows?
Yeah, they're actually wood and they're aluminum clad. So on the outside, they're cladded with aluminum and pre-finished to last longer.
Are those, Rick, are those permissible?
We do allow clad windows, yes.
Okay,
I do not believe we allow steel doors, though.
okay. Yeah, I thought for some reason we didn't allow any aluminum, but, so I asked.
Yeah, I think the last, it used to be that they had to actually be all wood, but we allow clad wood now
Okay.
for the windows. And the stucco, Jose, so you're gonna re-stucco the entire building. is what I'm-
Yeah, by the time you're done, you have to restock with the whole building.
Right, and you're gonna do, so the original stucco was kind of a dash finish. Are you
Yes.
gonna keep that, or are you changing the?
No, we're gonna try to match the same finish,
Hmm.
you know, otherwise, I mean, I don't know if there's an if it's allowed to have a sand finish on it, but at this point, you know, he wants to open it up. He wants to continue with the process of construction, so.
Yeah, I personally prefer that, because it was a dash finish originally, that you match that.
Yeah,
And then back to the doors, I don't have the guidelines in front of me right now, but I'm like 99% certain we can't have the steel doors. You got to go with the wood.
and again, that's why this is where I went to do guidelines in regards to the doors.
Mhm.
And I know it says the standard wood screens and recommended, and it does refer to wood doors. But again, the only reason I was suggesting, because you know what's gonna happen, it's just, they're gonna have to be maintained. If they're not maintained, that wood, especially, I'm not worried about the entry doors. The ones underneath the cover area, I think those are gonna be fine. But the doors on the back that didn't have cover, and the doors on the side, on the west and the east side, those doors, they're just gonna get beat up.
Well, but what you showed us does say it has to be wooden.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I have wood doors all around my house. I understand. It's a maintenance thing.
And
And all my windows actually aren't clad. They're wood as well. And that's another maintenance thing.
right. And again, that's why I said wood or steel. And if you said no steel, then we make them wood.
Yeah, I think you need to make them wood.
Okay.
a question about the stucco.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there are some artful stucco people who can match your stucco on your patching. Is that something, and this is not a question for you, Jose, it's a question more for the board, because I'm kind of new. Is that,
Jim,
patchers ever?
I had the same problem when I did my house, to be honest with you. The masons tried patching and there was so many patches, it just looked terrible, and we just restuccoed the whole house. And it was the same finish, it was a dash finish, and it was easier for them just to do the restucco than to try and feather in all the patchwork. It was just too much.
I did, my kitty corner neighbor found some magician who matched
Well,
her stucco from God knows how long, and I'm just curious if they're out there still and you can nail one, would say would be something that I wouldn't find objectionable, but I think Rick, they're gone, so
yeah, I think they're gone.
sorry, Jose.
Hey, Jose, so another question for you. Kind of looking at the floor plan, and, restoring the windows back to their original location and size. There's one, are you intending on the back? Yeah, as you zoom in, there's one that kind of winds up in a closet. Is that what you're going to do? You're going to just leave?
That is
window-
correct. Yeah, so basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna come in inside, and then this is after the exterior gets approved from the historical. We're gonna have to resubmit plans for the interior remodel or tenant improvement or the remodel of the space. And most likely those windows are gonna have to be closed in from the inside.
Okay, and there's precedent where we've allowed that, as long as from the outside you can't tell.
So, I mean, what we have done in the past is, we kind of blacken out the drywall.
Mhm.
So, and you leave a gap at the top, so there's a circulation, air circulation. So there's no, you don't damage the glass and start popping out, so.
Is that the only place you have to do that?
I think that's the only place. Everything else is pretty much open.
Hey, this is Damon. I had a clarification. And I apologize because for some reason my video is all jacked up and I can't see what you're presenting either. So but I downloaded the plans and I'm looking at them.
Okay.
So I think you're proposing to replace, I think this is a duplex. I think the south elevation shows the front of it. You're proposing to replace the 2 front doors on the south elevation with 6-panel doors. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the windows.
Okay. Did you consider doors that are front doors, at least, that are like, more, I guess I'd say, appropriate for the style of the house? Like most of the front doors in this neighborhood have, like maybe like a 6 light over a 3-panel kind of situation, like a Craftsman style door.
Yeah, I looked at a couple of different doors. There's a lot of variety out there. And again, it just, when I looked at the guidelines and I looked at this, so I looked at these doors. I know you can see that. I don't know if you can see it, but on the guidelines, you got like 3 different options there. And so that's what we went with.
Guideline, those pictures weren't intended to be the sum total of all options available.
Right.
Do you have a picture available in your slide deck here of the existing
This
door?
this is what the existing doors look like right now. There's like French doors. I doubt that was the original.
No, I mean the front door.
And the front door is the same thing. The front door is also, that's what they have. That's the one that we show that they didn't touch. Is a.
Oh, that's the front door.
Yeah.
So that's not, I can tell looking at it, that's not original to the house.
Yeah, so
either.
that door, at some point they changed it, and so.
Yeah.
Well, the guidelines read though, if replacement of a door is necessary, select a wood panel door that is close as possible to the original. And just because, I think the front doors on these kinds of houses are sort of an important architectural element. It seems to me like those just solid 6-panel doors are not quite the right choice, to be honest. I'm curious what other people think, but like if I were doing it, I would try to find a Craftsman style door with maybe, I don't know, a 6-light window over a 3-panel or something like that.
I appreciate Damon's observation. I think that there is some merit to it. To the extent that the doors haven't been purchased or already installed, I would certainly, or even beyond that, I think it's important to have doors with maybe some windows in them, but that's a good point, Damon. Thank you.
I agree with you, Damon.
Yeah, my door is exactly this type of door Damon's describing. It's not, the three panels are different shape, but yeah, I think you're right. They all have some kind of lights up in the upper part of the door. You don't have any, Jose, your client probably doesn't have any, I know he just bought this house.
No,
Do we have the inventory sheet by any chance, Andy? Let me see if I can find it. No? All right, my computer's not working.
is this what you guys thinking? Something like this?
Just
I don't know if you can see it.
What are you putting? I'm looking for the inventory sheet, the original property. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Jody. That's what I was looking for. No, you can't tell crap from that.
No, it has brick walls.
Are you guys good? I'll stop sharing, so. Jose
Yeah,
can-
stop sharing. That's not really going to be very helpful to us. Well, Jose, listening to Damon's point, thinking about it, and just the other board members kind of taking a read on them as well. For the front door, I think that is, what you're proposing is out of character for the rest of the neighborhood. That not having any windows at all in it at all is not, if you see any of that around the building, it's probably inappropriately, it's not original. And since you're gonna have to buy a new door anyway, have you selected a supplier or a vendor for that door?
No, I was just looking for a profile. Normally we just let the client find out. I mean, because there's so
Right.
many different manufacturers that can provide you the same door.
Right. And I know the windows, if I remember correctly from reading
The windows we do have, that we have a
Yeah.
Pella window system, right?
right, and I would not be surprised that Pella doesn't likewise make a simple Craftsman wood door.
Yeah, I have one other thing to add. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% familiar with this part of the neighborhood, but I think that the neighboring house is a similar style with stone pillars and
It
kind of
is.
a Craftsman duplex. So the inventory sheet for the neighboring house, which I think is 715 and 717, you can see a little bit more. It's not as good, but it does appear that the front door on the right actually is I don't know what to call it. Maybe it's fully divided glass. So I suspect originally that you had a fully divided glass door on the right and a Craftsman style door on the left. I'm admitting I'm speculating here, but that you can at least see the door on the right in the neighboring properties inventory sheet.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I guess from my opinion, yeah, I can see a lot of reasons why in a duplex, a fully divided glass front door maybe isn't a good idea. But I think for the front door, what we're gonna prefer is that you mimic more of the classic Craftsman style. And I have to believe Pella and other companies like Pella sell those things. The rest of the doors, I personally don't have a problem with, just regular wood, solid 6-panel doors.
Let me see if I can share this with you guys.
Sure.
Is this what you're thinking?
That is a variation of what I'm thinking, yes.
Yeah, so that's that one, or so.
Yeah. I mean, if you were presenting that to us, I think, well, ask the board if they disagree, we'd be comfortable with that.
Yeah, if you guys are comfortable with this, I can have my client find something similar to this and make that work.
It's a nice touch, and we you go around the neighborhood too, and it's pretty easy to spot the renter houses because they have the standard Home Depot door. I unfortunately have one from the 80s that's left over from a bad renovation, and a good nice door like this I think is really worth it, and I think your client will be thankful for it in the long run.
Well, and since we're changing these doors, what Betsy's describing is a situation where would not have gone through the review that we're doing here. And we talked about this last time, Jose. Once you start, touching these elements, you're kind of subjected to, we really do want to be, we want to honor the historic tradition of the original architecture.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity to bring some of that flavor back, and your renters will really appreciate that too.
Okay. So, yeah, Jim, do you have something you want to say?
I was gonna make an attempt at a motion.
Oh, good. Go for it.
All right. We approved the new window proposal to go back to the original dimensions. We approve the side door restorations. We approve the restuccoing of the entire building to address patching issues. We would we are accepting a wooden door in the front with glass panel. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything, anyone? So that's my motion, is to approve on it. Or to have that stated for the record as I suggested.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I could try to repeat it if you need to me, if I need to.
Do we need to be more specific about the front door? Is that something we really want to be Craftsman? Because if we just say window, there's a lot of variations of windowed doors that are not Craftsman, that are more like Victorian, or I'm
Good
thinking like the
point,
stuff
Betsy. Good
you find at
point.
Home Depot.
Can you guys, did that,
The maker of the motion will accept that as a friendly amendment, a friendly amendment that the front door be a Craftsman style.
we need a second.
This is Sarah. I second.
Thank you, Sarah.
I apologize. I spoke out of turn. I was supposed to wait till a second for discussion. My apologies.
Okay, so we've had a motion and a second. Betsy, you brought up some discussion about a modification to the motion. Now that we've had a second, to further clarify that the front door should be a Craftsman style.
Agreed. Thank you, Rick.
Rick is trying to write all this down.
And for clarification, you're okay with the 6-panel doors elsewhere?
6-panel wood doors.
6-panel wood
I
doors,
am.
but you're fine with those elsewhere.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what Jim was saying,
Yeah,
yes.
that's my motion, but that's certainly.
that was the
within
motion.
discussion, that'd be appropriate.
Sure. The motion was that all but the front door was acceptable as presented, except that they be wood, not steel or wood, but wood. And then the front door, we just had a discussion on it being Craftsman style with lights. So given that that was the motion and it was seconded, is there any further comments on the other doors, the other 6-panel doors on the side and the back?
How do we amend the motion to include what Betsy said about making sure it's a Craftsman style?
I did capture that. I'm gonna restate
Okay.
what
thank
I'm
you.
writing down here once we finish discussion,
Okay.
just to make sure I got it all correct.
Also, I'm made it, you guys. I'm listening. I'm not going to vote on this motion, but I am taking notes.
Hi, Darcy.
This is Darcy, by the way. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm here
No
though.
problem. And I'm gonna make a little note that you can.
I have a note that Darcy. So Betsy made the amendment. Jim, out of order, agreed to the amendment. Sarah, you are also agreeable to the amendment?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Damon, are you agreeable to the amendment?
Yes, but I don't think we're voting yet. I think she was just asking because Sarah seconded.
Any further discussion, kind of going back to where we were just talking when Darcy showed up, on the other doors other than the front door?
Now that we bring up the other doors, what other doors would be acceptable? One would think in a place like that, doors with windows would be something that people would like more light than less, but maybe I'm wrong. Should we give the applicant flexibility on doors? How do we handle a comment like that? I think Sarah's observation is intriguing, and I kind of want to pull on that a little bit. So, but it's let me not slow things down too much. I just wanted to bring that out.
Well, so the applicant has proposed, as shown in the drawing, 6-panel wood doors, steel or wood, but we've already said that they can't be steel, they have to be wood. So we can say what you're proposing is fine, or we can say, no, it's not fine. It has to be like we just had the discussion on the front door. My
You
opinion.
could also propose like a single panel Baker style, right, door for the side doors.
I think that the only guidance, I have the design guides up and I'm looking, and the only guidance it really gives is to do something similar to others in your development zone. It does have, it says it wants wood panel doors. It does show a single panel door, like I think what Darcy's referring to, and it kind of says no next to that.
Oh,
So I think that we would guide people away from single panel doors, guide them towards multi-panel wooden doors.
I tend to agree with Damon on that. And I do think the guidelines lead you that direction.
So
So
I
are
guess
the ones that they're showing in this illustration that Jose has got up in the illustration, are these appropriate, Damon?
I'll say two things. My opinion is that they're not my favorite. According to the design guidelines, I think you can make an argument that they're fine.
Okay.
I guess in furtherance of just voicing opinions on the doors, my opinion, I I feel much more strongly about the front door, the street facing door. The others, as long as they're consistent with the guidelines, which 6-panel wood doors would be, then I'm fine. I don't disagree, and I know for myself in my own home, I have all the doors have windows on them, all of them. But I don't think that's a requirement. And if the applicant doesn't want to do it, I'm okay with that. Again, just me talking.
Well, I thank everyone for indulging my sidetracking the conversation, but again, my motion as amended stands, and I don't know whether I should call a question or whatnot, but I think all my questions have been satisfied, so I'll leave it to the chair.
Okay. So Jim is good. Damon, any further comments, discussion?
Nope, nothing for me. I'm ready to vote.
You ready to vote? Sarah, are you good?
I'm good.
Betsy? Okay. Betsy, are you still there?
Sorry, I'm chiming out. Yes,
Uh-huh.
I'm still here, and it all sounds good.
It all sounds good. Okay. And Darcy, since you're here, do you have any comments, given what you've heard?
No,
Okay. So amended, what I've got is that Jim made a motion and amended, that has been amended to approve the new windows as proposed, the Pella aluminum clad wood windows that match the original openings and locations. Jim approved the side doors and rear door as proposed, being 6-panel wood doors, not steel. Approved restuccoing of the entire property. And then the front door be changed from the drawing to be a wood craftsman style door with glass panels up in the top. And that is it. Did I capture that correctly, Jim?
Yes, you did. The only observation you made earlier that I may be appropriate to echo into the record is that we are accepting sills that can be made.
Oh, the stills.
So I do want to have the sills on the record, please.
Restore stills as proposed.
Did you also want to, I may have missed it. Did you also want to say something about the dash finish and the stucco?
Yeah, I do. Thank you, Jody. Say this whole thing over again.
And if those are included as amendments, do Jim and Sarah agree to those amendments?
I was gonna, thank you, Jody. I was gonna say, I'd like to approve the amendments as suggested and move the motion as read by Rick.
And Sarah's agreeable to that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
So noted. Okay, so we have a motion. We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
This is Damon, aye.
Damon.
Jim
Jamie,
Block,
Rick.
aye.
Okay, Sarah,
Yes.
Betsy.
Betsy, I.
Okay, and Darcy.
aye.
All right. Motion approved, seconded, and approved unanimously by the board. Awesome. Okay, Jose, good luck.
All right, thank you, guys.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, item 4B, SD 0823-00086, 629 North 7th Avenue. And we have Noah Sensabar. I believe, Noah, you're presenting, correct? All right, over to you, sir.
Thank you.
I made you a co-host, so you should be able to share your screen.
Great, thanks. In the interest of full transparency, I don't know what it really matters, but I'm currently working for Jim Glock. I have worked for Rick McDonald in the past, and Damon and Betsy are personal friends. So that's that. But it's out there, it's on record. So this is 629 North 7th Avenue. It is a prairie style house, kind of unique in the neighborhood, built in 1903. In the rear is probably something that at some point was a storage building. At some point it was actually converted to living space. It has a toilet in it, among other things, shower, sink, remnants of a kitchen. We are proposing to tear down that structure and build a second structure on the lot as permissible by the HC1 zoning of the lot. So that's the sort of basic scope of the project. If you'd like me to go through the historic review narrative, I'm happy to, but I'm assuming that everyone's read it, and in the interest of time, I am going to steer away from that unless someone has any questions about it. All right, I'm going to assume then that everyone's read it, no one has any questions. Let's go to the design. Let me get it up on the screen. Are you guys seeing it?
No, not
Nope.
yet.
I'm seeing it.
No,
Yeah.
would you like me to share my screen?
Sure, that would be helpful. My computer doesn't want Zoom to share my screen.
Can you see the plans?
Great, thank you. So this is the original house. Sits on the front of the property, 7th Avenue here. We're talking about this space at the very rear of the house on Eccles Avenue. You can see that in the development zone, we have the old Ma Bell building, which is a non-contributing structure. And then on the corner lot down here, we have multiple structures on the property, similar to what we're talking about doing on our lot with multiple structures. The proposed structure will be a 2-story structure. It will have a brick veneer that will be reminiscent of, throwback, reflect, whatever word you want to use, the original house, similar patterns to the brick that are in the original house. We're having all wood windows, wood doors, lights in the doors, no sliding doors, all French doors where you see double doors. We have a few casement windows here, which is the alley side, so they're high up. Eccles Alley, and if you aren't aware of it, gets quite a bit of foot traffic. And then on this elevation. These are operating windows, and this wall here faces the parking lot, or where we propose parking. And then all the overhangs, porches will be made out of steel. So we're trying to make sure that no one would think that this building was contemporary to the original building by shifting the exterior materials from wood to steel. And that's really a pretty simple structure. Flat roof, similar to the main structure, parapet. That's that. Any questions?
No questions from anyone on the board?
I have a comment, just that I think when we go to make a motion on this, I think should include commentary on the setback. I think you're essentially proposing little or no setback, which I think we can approve based on what else is going on in the development zone. But I just want
the structure we're taking down has 0 setback. On the alley side, it actually creates the alley wall, and it has about a 1 foot setback on the north property line. So there's not enough space, barely enough space for a human to squeeze in between the building and the wall on the north side. So when we redo this, we're actually moving the building away on the north side and maintaining the 0 lot line on the west side.
I think it's a good catch on Damon's part, though, that we include that, approving that in the language. All right, any other comments from any other board members? Okay. Do I have a motion?
I can make a motion.
Go for it, Jim.
I move we approve the plans as presented with the commentary that Damon offered, that the setbacks should that setbacks are appropriate with the 0 lot line or original locations of previous buildings. Does that capture your intent, Damon? Sorry.
Yes, you got it.
Okay. Rick, sorry that wasn't more clear.
Okay, I'm making sense of it. Just write it down. All right, Jim's made a motion. Do I have a second?
This is Damon, I second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Betsy, aye.
Jim Block,
Lisa
aye.
Baker, aye.
Darcy, aye. This is Rick, aye. All right. I think I got everybody. So the motion is approved unanimously by the board. Thank you, Noah. That was like really fast. Appreciate that.
Well, I feel for you guys.
His
Oh,
plans
come
are
on.
very complete.
It's great to have a former board member presenting to the board. Let's face it, he knows what we want to see. He's done good work for all of us, obviously. I think we can all in good conscience not believe that there's any impropriety in the fact that we've worked with him in the past in our alacrity and our acceptance of this. It's right on the button. If only everyone else could do this.
Meetings would be shorter. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Noah, very much. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Moving us along here. Staff updates. Jody, any staff updates? Item 5.
So we're still in the holding pattern for the commission split.
I don't know. Okay.
Just so you know, we have done one hybrid meeting with Fort Lowell, we did it mostly successfully. We had some technical glitches in the beginning, but I wanted to have a discussion with you, or kind of at least put it in your minds so you could think about it, about if you're interested in having a hybrid meeting, we can do it. We will not be going back to paper plans. So we do need the option to have Wi-Fi, have something that we can use to display on the wall. Like, so when we did it with Fort Lowell, they had, we did it at the San Pedro Chapel, and they have Wi-Fi in there, and they had like a little projector and stuff like that. So we were able to project the plans. And then I used my computer so I could record the meeting, and we had people who attended both in person and virtually. So we just need a couple of things. So the question is, where could we do that? I don't think the church that you guys used to meet at has those elements. I could be wrong, but I don't think that they have those elements. So I'm not forcing you guys to go back to hybrid or in person, but I just want to put it out there as an option if we can find an acceptable place.
For your benefit, Jody, the church does now have those elements. They have projection. They have I forgot what it's called, but one of those little camera things that could do 360 degrees around a room. So and WUNA does their board meetings in a hybrid fashion, and has been doing that for, I don't know, Jim, a while. So the technology at the church does exist to do it. That said, I'm kind of curious. I mean, what do you guys think? What do the board members think?
I'm sorry,
Rick?
I'm sold on virtual.
Yeah.
Don't make me have to get up and go somewhere when I think it's just as effective. In fact, even more effective in some respects for us to work this way, but that's just my 2 bits. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah, Rick, I agree with Jim, and I run our neighborhood meetings right now, and they're hybrid, and it's a very complex beast to both host in person and the people on Zoom, and it adds another layer of complexity and difficulty. So just my 2 bits for you, Rick.
Okay, I appreciate that. And we do have board members on this board, unlike the neighborhood board, that don't live in the neighborhood. So it's a little bit more complex for them to show up in person. I know that's what we used to do. And I believe, Jody, I heard you say we're definitely not going back to paper. So even if we were all in the same room, we'd still be looking at a projection screen?
Correct, because we are now paperless at the city. So, well, I mean, as it relates to plans, not other stuff. But yeah, so it would be projected, which is why I would need a projector. I could probably get a projector if it wasn't available where we were meeting, but I would need Wi-Fi access.
The technical parts of what you're discussing, I think we've overcome that at Trinity Church. So now it's just like, given that we have that capability, is that something that we really want to do for this board? And I've heard from 2 members, and
Yeah, I'll tell you my opinion. If it were in walking distance, like Trinity Church is, I would go in person over virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, I think I was the one that was pushing to go back to in person because I do miss that aspect of it. But I guess my feeling about it is that, like, if the city is never going back to paper and we're going to have to like go through the rigmarole of getting all of that in order, it does feel like a little bit more of a hassle. But I would love to be able to see everybody's faces again.
No, I think that's the conversation we've had before. I would like to see everybody's faces again. And I think the dialogue is richer when we're all in the same room. You know, there's a little bit of body language and stuff you pick up on Zoom, but it's not quite the same.
We
So
can
I-
always,
Go ahead,
Sorry.
Jody.
I was gonna say, we can always do a trial just to see how it works out, like a hybrid meeting. So Jim, you can be in Idaho and like everybody else can be here. You
Well-
know, it did help at Fort Lowell, we were projecting onto a wall and the applicants were there in person. So they were kind of pointing out stuff on the plans and everything like that. And I think that it didn't translate as well for people who were online. I think the thing that would help that translate is when they were pointing on the wall, if they were explaining what they were talking about, like I'm pointing at, you know, the south facade and, you know, whatever, this window on the south facade or something like that, just to be clear. So, I mean, there's some new things that you would have to kind of talk about. But I'm just putting it out. So you guys, this is just to put it in your, what is that? It's a bug in your ear or something, some cliche.
Something like that.
On it.
Yeah.
I like the idea maybe, and we'll leave it to the chair's discretion to perhaps have an annual hybrid meeting or an annual in-face meeting. I belong to another committee. I had to miss a meeting because I was up here. And they insisted that you had to attend the meeting in person at least once a year, so everyone got to meet each other. So any variation of that, but I'll leave it to the chair to sort out with you, Jody. And with that, I've got to sign off and cook dinner for my spouse. So if there's no objection, checking out. Is there any other critical items on the agenda, Rick, that I should stick around for?
Nothing critical. We got a couple other things, and if you leave, we still have a quorum, so you could sign off. I'm just making a note.
Hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
If now is the time that I can ask a question.
Sure.
It's somewhat of a curiosity, and it's probably for Jody, but I noticed with Noah's property that he had like a really modern inventory form. I've never seen that before.
Oh, that's a good.
I noticed the same thing. That's not the inventory form. I'm not sure where that came from exactly. It is new.
Well, it's much better than the old
No, it
one.
is. I mean, because you could, yeah, I don't disagree with you, but it's.
You know why? Because Rachel did it herself. So
Oh.
this actually isn't the inventory. I didn't catch that. Sorry, I didn't catch
Yeah.
that. So Rachel did this herself.
Rachel, Sarah.
Yeah.
Rachel Sarah is the architect on that project. And
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
can we have Rachel do one for every house in the neighborhood?
So technically it's not appropriate because it's not been vetted by SHPO. But yeah, occasionally we get people who put their own inventory forms together, and we were rushing to get this on because she really wanted it on, and I missed that part that it was something she put together.
Oh, well,
Sorry.
it's a huge improvement. So you should put it in the real database.
Well, it'd be nice if SHPO, I don't know what's involved in doing that, Jody, but like if Rachel were to get SHPO to say, yeah, that's a fine update to the inventory form, there's just so much more information there. And it sort of re-baselines, because we go back and we look like we did earlier at these old grainy black and white photos that you can't make heads or tails of. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, if there's a way to do it, it certainly helps. I don't know what's involved in getting the inventory forms updated.
It's getting a group to go around and basically redo the inventory forms.
Well, I'm thinking just like the one at a time, one-offs, like what Rachel did.
Normally I don't see that unless it's been like there was something like an expansion to the district, and they do new inventory forms. Everybody just works off the same old inventory forms.
Right, right.
Well, just to throw out a random suggestion, that's like something that you guys could consider when someone does a major renovation or adds a guest house or somebody. You could ask them. I mean, I don't think you could make it a requirement, but you could ask them to consider updating the inventory form, and then maybe you guys could take the part through SHPO so they don't have to. But some of the inventory forms are just so old, they're not really useful. And it's kind of nice to have a modern one that actually has pictures that you can see.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from. Sometimes and it's a hit or miss when people are doing the inventory forms, because they're putting it together and they don't understand what they're putting together. So it has information that's not helpful on there. Kind of like you get stuck with the old inventory forms that are like not hitting the mark with the information that you're wanting. But definitely something to consider. I appreciate that recommendation.
Thanks.
Okay. Is that it for item 5, Jody? Staff updates?
And did Michael told you that we got a new director for PDSD?
He did, yes, at the
Okay.
last meeting. I
All right.
don't for the life of me remember who it is, but he did say that.
Christina Swallow. She came from Las Vegas. And she's pretty nice.
Is
But that's
is she on board now?
Yeah, she's been since May 31st. She's been on board. So
Oh, okay. All right, good.
been here for a little bit.
Okay, moving on to item 6, future agenda items. Any future agenda items you want to bring up, Jody?
Not any that I can think of right now.
Brings us to item 7. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
This is Damon. I motion to adjourn.
Betsy seconds.
2 seconds. We have a motion to adjourn. We have a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Darcy?
Aye.
Awesome. Okay. 7:05. Nice. Everybody enjoy the rest of your evening, and we will see you next time. Thank you all very much for your time.
Thank
Thanks.
you.